Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, so I want to go over a couple of things, including Yelp again, because I'm going to beat this thing in the ground probably until I start seeing some results, because I'm not seeing any results. I mean, we're doing a lot of work, and one of the biggest things, I guess, that I've been trying to throw out at everybody is there are times we're slow, there's times we're busy. Like right now in HVAC, we're swamped. I mean, that'll last, hopefully, bring us all the way through into the summertime, and it'll keep us going. That's my hope.
December.
But the bottom line is, right now, the plumbing side isn't real busy. We have little things going here and there, but it's not busy enough. When you look at our site, the most recent one, other than what I gave as a Yelp review, is February of 2019, and then it goes to January. Before that, it's all the way back to October of 2018. Not one review, not one Yelp review has come in. So we're not going to ever get it if we don't ask. And asking isn't always enough either, because you can ask for a Yelp review, but that doesn't mean that they're going to give it to us, right? We have to be the ones who go in, put it on our iPad, whatever we have to do to get them, help them if we need to give us a review, okay? Let them know up front, hey, I plan on doing a really good job for you. I'd really appreciate it if I do, that you go onto Yelp and just take a couple of minutes of your time and give us a good review. That's all we're asking. This website, I think the website's basically about done now, and it's going to have both Kalka and the heating and air and plumbing combined. So basically, the Yelp is when that's going to really start hitting us, is when the Yelp starts going on there, and those keywords are going to start seeing Kalka, 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 because anything you put on the internet, when you put in a word for just the word Kalka, it's going to start adding more and more hits, basically, and recognition of Kalka. So then we start getting higher and higher up with those other ads that people pay for. People pay for ads on a regular basis. So when you go into, for an example, and I want to kind of show you guys. So if you go into and type in, let's just say plumbing. Okay, and see right now we're in Irvine, so Irvine plumber. See all the ones that say ads on top? All of those are ads. So those are people who, that says Green Star Plumbing, there's Scott English Plumbing, RescueRooter.oc or -oc, Barker Anderson Plumbing, Always Plumbing. All these people, are paying to be up on top. Then, as you scroll down, once you get past the ads, okay, then you have, this one here is a Yelp. See that? The best 10 plumbing in Irvine. So if we're not in those top 10 in Irvine, we're not going to show up. Okay, so you can click on there now, we're not there. Let's see who all is there. Who's their top 10 that they're showing? Okay, so sponsored results, still you get Simplex Repipes, Sage Plumbing, Pipeline Restoration, Resco, Clean Out Kings, Coastline Plumbing, Parzival Plumbing, Olson Plumbing, SoCal Plumbing, Flood Brothers Plumbing. I mean, you don't see us anywhere on there.
And most of them are probably not even based in Irvine.
And a lot of these people aren't even probably in Irvine, right? And they're small little mom and pops. They're not nearly as large as us. They don't even have, as many people that we have out in trucks that can get reviews. So if we were getting reviews, like we said, even 1 or 2 per person a week, can you imagine getting 20, 30, 40 pops on that all of a sudden? We're going to just start coming up that line. That's what we want, okay? We've got to be able to do it. So you guys care about staying busy, this is what you're going to have to do to get there. And I just wanted to throw this out again because I'm going to stay till I'm blue in the face, but it's definitely not helping us by just kind of sitting around waiting for it to happen on its own. It's not. Because we can spend all the money we want in advertising, but people click in Irvine Plumber or whatever, unless we're paying those people to put us in their little group, we're not getting anything. So that comes to another thing, and you guys know we use ServPro, right? And I've got the phone number here. If you don't know, Cody is our rep, and if you guys want to write it down, you can, but we'll put it in your phones if you don't have it already in there. His cell phone number is 714-720-8924, or you can call their office at 949-831-6201. Now, what do these guys do for us? Who can tell me? What do we get?
Remediation.
All right, so we get remediation. So if we go into a house that has a leak under a sink, now the cabinets are destroyed or they're really, really wet water, full of water and kind of getting that mold and mildew smell, these guys actually come out, dry it out. They may have to replace cabinets, because what happens is, and if you guys don't know, and all you do is recommend, you're not telling them anything other than, hey, there's a lot of moisture here. I recommend that you get these guys out to test to make sure you don't have potential mold growing or anything else, because this has been wet for a while. Doesn't matter if it's under a kitchen sink, doesn't matter if it's behind a water heater leaks in it, they don't have a pan, for an example, or overflowed, whatever the case is, and they've got water. Stuff that goes underneath their stand, stuff that goes against the wall in the house can cause people to get sick and everything else. So we want to make sure that we're just letting them know, and it's really a service that we're offering. We're not offering this service for ourselves to do it, but we're offering them peace of mind and making sure that, hey, let them check it out. They'll come out for free and test it. If there's nothing wrong, if it's not that big of a deal, they may put a couple dryers in there for you, but if it's serious, let's get it nipped in the bud before it does become a really bad mold issue. And now, because mold just spreads. If you guys don't know how mold is, it feeds on water, it feeds on moisture, time, temperature, and air. Those are the things that really make mold expand and can be. Then you open up a hole for some reason, and now those spores are everywhere. Now they can travel throughout your house. So I want to throw this out, because in addition to Yelp, like we were just talking about, we get referrals from these guys as well. Now, are they going to refer us? Now, you know that they have other plumbers throughout Orange County. Are they going to refer us if we don't refer them? I mean, be honest. Pretty soon you're going to say, hey, this guy's always referring me. This company, John A. Plumbing over here, they're referring me all the time, and instead of getting me work. So guess what? If I got something near him and he can handle it, I'm giving it to him. That's how these guys work. That's how they make their money. All right? They don't make their money by handing out business cards and hoping that someone's going to call. It's a give and take, give and take, give and take. So we need to be given so we can get some back. Okay? So if you guys see something, you guys also get a little spiff off of this. So if you didn't know that, you guys get a spiff off of this. A person, they'll write you a check. They'll come in, they hand you a check. I know that. I think I just saw last week. I think Sarah got one from one before. So it's happening here and there. It's not happening nearly as much as it probably could or should, based on the amount of water leaks that we go to. Because I see the calls come in. We have water leaks. It can be a condensation line leaking, causing water damage. We had one that a couple months ago that I saw that was a lady was complaining about that we had been out to, and they thought it was our problem that we made it happen. It didn't, but it was a major deal. They had to get insurance involved and everything else. But that's the exception, not the rule. But still, you have water going somewhere, you can cause mold. Especially if you get a condensate line backed up and it's just going, overflowing, and they're not even up to code possibly. They don't have proper clean outs, they don't have whatever's going on, but it's just making a mess. They don't have a pan. I mean, there's units that don't have pans. And it just goes right through the ceiling or goes right into the wall. Water takes the path of least resistance. So sometimes you can find water over here, but it's really coming from something way over there because it's just going along a crack, and this is the way, it's not level, it just kind of follows that path. You got to basically get somebody out there who can test everything, check it out. Those guys basically come out and will do an estimate for free. So let's just say, hey, let them come out and give you a free estimate. It's not about they're going to charge you this, and your insurance covers that kind of stuff. They cover the damage caused by the leaks. They don't usually cover our work, all right? They're gonna cover, they may cover a certain, small repair, but they're not gonna cover, a repipe or a reroute necessarily. A lot of them don't. There are some, I think like, USAA, at least they used to cover a reroute or a repipe.
I do know that Cody had said that if there's a slab leak and you call them, there's better odds that the insurance will bite on relocating the pipes out of the slab. Insurance companies are cheap. They want to only pay once. So if you get one slab leak, they replace all your floors, they replace everything, and then you get a second one, they're just going to drop you.
Yeah.
But if you make your case right, they'll let you move all the lines out of the slab, and then now they won't pay for another slab leak.
Right.
Now it's warranty on your plumber.
Right. And a lot of them actually are getting to the point now where they're not even including mold. I mean, there are policies now that are excluding mold. You know, so that's what insurance companies do. So luckily we don't want to deal with insurance companies because they don't pay, and if they do pay, they pay very minimum, and they want the cheapest, quickest, easiest fix, which we don't want to do. We don't want to put Band-Aids on stuff. If we put a Band-Aid on something, guess what? It's back on us. And we don't want to have, you know, now we have not only the Band-Aid we put on fails because it's a Band-Aid, and now we have more damage caused because we put a Band-Aid on. So that's the last thing we want to do.
Home warranties too, right, Alan?
Home warranties
we don't
too.
deal-
No, we don't deal with home warranties. And the reason we don't, I mean, Kevin had me look into it. Do you guys want to know what they want to pay a plumber for? A plumber, I'm going to start with plumbing first. What they want to pay a plumber per hour? They want to pay for parts at cost, no markup, and they want to pay a plumber $65 an hour. It costs us more than that to send a plumber out. I mean, by the time you talk insurance and workers' comp and, you know, the truck and the fuel and the maintenance on the truck and the uniforms, and you just go on and on and on and on, the office staff,
You're about 140.
we're 185.
I wasn't too far.
We're 185. So, you know, and we don't have an hourly rate, but if I had to say that's what it takes us to make profit, that's what it takes us to make profit. We got to charge. That's so when you guys look in your bid calculator, that's how it's figured out at 185. And basically, HVAC is not that far different. I mean, it costs me more for HVAC because the parts are more. So, you know, it's very expensive, guys. The other thing is, you know, water treatment, that we're not doing nearly enough water treatment. Every house needs water treatment. I mean, it shouldn't even be an option. So it's something that, especially on the plumber side, should be being recommended just about every time you go there if they don't have something. If they do have something, check out the system. Is it an old system? Is it even working? I know in my previous life, I can tell you how many people that did have a water system in their house that wasn't working. If it was a water softener, they didn't put salt in it, they didn't, you know, or potassium, whatever, they didn't do anything. They basically just let it go to pot, right? You got a 15-year-old system that's not working properly and they think they're getting good quality water. The easiest way to find out about water is what? How? Test it. How do you test it?
Those little like strip thing testers.
That's one way. Okay. There's a couple of different ways to test it. I mean, and I don't know if we have them here, but I know that we can get them from Chris over at. We still use Plumber's Choice, right? Some?
I haven't used them, but I have a couple of relationships out here, but we do have test kits all
Okay.
over the place.
And all it is putting water in, a couple of drops of chemical. It basically tells you what to do, right? There's instructions in it.
Yeah, it's
Same type of
basically
test?
a pool test kit, and then we have test strips.
Okay. So people will be shocked if we just take the time and check their water. Because they'll see how much chloramine's in there, you know, the hardness of the water. They're shocked. A lot of times it's as much as or more than a pool. And they're putting that chlorine in their body every time they take a bath, every time they take a shower. It's just like their body's a sponge, just soaking all that crap in. So, you know, it's funny that people go in and you can ask simple questions like, you know, if you ever go swimming and you go in a pool, what do you normally do? You go take a shower, try to get the chlorine off of you. Do you know that you just took a shower with as much chlorine as what's in your pool? I mean, it's real simple stuff. People don't get it. So, especially when you have babies and people who are a little bit older in age, you know, they don't realize what that's doing to their body. So we want to try to stay healthy. Hopefully most of it, and California, Southern California is that way. One of the best ways, you know, keep hydrated, keep all those chemicals out of your body, and that's one way. So there's a lot of different ways to bring this up, but we're never going to sell them if we don't bring them up. It's the same thing as Yelp. We're not going to get Yelp if we don't bring it up. We're not going to, the restoration thing, the same thing. If we don't, you know, refer that to them, they're not going to refer as much to us. So there's a lot of give and take in everything we do here in this business. And we have to give to restoration to get leads. We give them leads, they give us leads. Yelp, we want to get more leads. We want to get more Yelp. Why? Because it helps our reputation. It brings us up the list like we were just talking about, which we want to do. It's all about give and take. Okay, so I also want to bring up vacations. You know, hopefully everybody realizes that there's no vacations for the next few months going from May, June, July, and August. Those are typically our busiest months, especially in HVAC. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. I was talking to Tina the other day, and you know, she wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, because it gets to the point where, you know, we can't take 4, 5, 6 days off and just say, hey, I'm going to take a vacation in the middle of the summer. I mean, if that was going to happen, then I'm going to have to hire another person, and then, you know, it's going to put a strain on everybody. So please be aware of that. Let me see, what else did I have? Okay, so I have been seeing some more, some of you guys have been putting on last week's payroll parts from the parts list on the truck. I appreciate that. That's been helping. Continue to do that, please. We're working on the material safety data sheets I told you guys all about. Bryce has been making sure, I showed him how to do it. He's been putting them all together. We're going to put that in every truck so you guys have that. Schedule on call, the on-call schedule. So I've talked to dispatch already about it. I talked to the guys. If you're on the board for a specific call, that's the call. You know, you need to make sure you understand and look at your board and know what you're doing every day, because if another call comes in, dispatch is not going to make any changes on the board without either telling me or Kevin, period. Because if they make a change on it on their own, it's messing stuff up. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. You don't get to make the changes without us knowing, and they don't get to make a change either. So don't even request to dispatch without talking to me or Kevin first. Okay? Come to me first. If you can't get a hold of me, then you can go to Kevin.
And that's as far as changing a schedule or adding something?
Changing it.
Okay.
So like if you have something to follow up with, that's fine, and you don't have anything going on. But if you have something on the schedule that says, even if it's a note that says you're on this job all day, unless we know about it, I don't want it being changed. Because what's happening is, you know, a technician will says, or even dispatch gets a call in and they see that you're scheduled somewhere. They're going in sometimes and just saying, oh, I can get in here first. Well, now it's all the way in Timbuktu,
Yeah.
and you know, now you can't get back to do this job, and we got this customer we already promised we'd be there, and now we're not there in time, or at all.
Now, I've noticed that sometimes they kind of.
Yeah, they try to fit things in. I mean, and I already told them, you have to let me know. Let me work it out with you, and that way I can make sure that everyone's being taken care of properly.
Yeah, because I remember one specifically, Huntington Beach, all the way out to Huntington Beach, all the way back to Trabuco Canyon, all the way back down to Costa Mesa for my 2 to 5.
Right.
And
Right.
11 to 2 going back down after that 11 to 2 to Costa Mesa is hell.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want customers. We don't want to give up calls that are great calls, but at the same time, we don't want to piss off our great customers either, who are already, you know, giving us money on a regular basis. So we've got to balance that out. And so if I'm aware of it or Kevin's aware of it, then we can make that happen. So I'm going to hand you guys' payroll stuff out. Before I do that, I was just going to talk about the payroll process. So it's also getting better on payroll where you guys are putting your rates over there. If you're like Jesse or an hourly person and you're saying, hey, they're paying me $20 an hour. But I need to see it on both sides. So the person who's, the technician whose job it is, needs to have on there paying Jesse $20 an hour. I need to see it on both, because when if Jesse says that on this job, I'm gonna go to, and he's working with Mike, I go to Mike's job on that same day, and I just pull it over and say, okay, yes, 2020, we're good. Because I don't want anybody complaining later on when they're saying, hey, how come this and this and that? Because I'm looking at the cost of these jobs, and I explained this to Mike already, he's the only one I think I've explained it to. But my recommendation is, if you're gonna pay somebody, and this, for the guys that are hourly, this may not sound great to you, but I think this is the way it's gonna have to be, is you go in and you say, right now, if you're $17 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever your normal rate is for install or as a helper, that's what you pay the guys on these jobs in the beginning. Now, once the job is done, especially in HVAC, because this is where I'm seeing it the most, once the job is done, and you want to be able to say, okay, now we got done in time, we did a good job on this, we got out quick enough, there's enough money in here. On the last week of pay, whatever the last pay is, you want to give them a little bit bonus and pay them a little extra money because you guys did well and you got it done fast enough, there's more money in it for you, great, pay them a little extra then. But if you pay them $25 an hour throughout the job, and now the job's taken you 3 extra days, whatever it is, they're still getting paid their hourly rate. And then what happens with the tech is, now the tech's making less than they did per hour when you add it all together. That's not how you do it, guys. I mean, that's not how you're smart about your job. To be smart, you gotta pay what you have to, make the assumptions afterwards, okay? Don't try to make assumptions beforehand and say, oh yeah, there's plenty of money in this for me to pay you $25 an hour. Because some of these jobs, especially HVAC, we know that things seem to be coming up and taking a lot longer on us. So pay what you need to up front just to be able to get the job done, and give the incentive. If we get it done in time, there's extra, then I can pay you more. But when you're paying more up front, now you can't get that back, right? That means all of you work as a team to get it done quicker and correctly, and then there's more money in it. Does that make sense? Because that's kind of what seems to be happening is I'm seeing the payroll come in, and then by the time we get done, it's like, oh, there's not much left. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your jobs. But the most important part of bidding your jobs, and I know you guys don't bid all of them, Kevin sells them on his own and so on, but the most important part is making sure that we take into consideration some variables that we may not know. Regarding time. And I was explaining again just this morning with Mike prior to the camera coming on and everything, is that when I get a box of an item from Amazon and I got to put it together, what's the first thing that I do is I take the box, open it up, get the instruction manual, pull all the parts to make sure I have all the parts. And it's the same thing when you guys are ordering parts. You get your parts list, you order everything, you make sure you have it all. You can't wait after, especially if it's a 3 or 4 day job, you can't wait till day 3 or 4. Oh, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. And you can't finish the job. Now we gotta go back another day. And all that travel time and everything, I mean, it hurts you guys too. I mean, it hurts us, it's costing us gas, it's costing us wear in the vehicles. And it's costing us time where we could have you doing something else. So there's money that we're losing all over the place. And you're losing money because now you're spending more time on a job that you're getting paid the same amount for or even less, because you got more labor going into it and more of your time. So all of those things matter. So we have to be prepared, make sure you know what parts you need. Once you get them, verify you have them, make sure you're not missing anything. Even if you have a helper and the helper knows enough to see what parts are there and can make sure the part list is correct. As you're taking something apart or have them take it apart, check it, make sure, whatever you got to do. But one of you got to make sure it's all there. Because it just doesn't make sense for us to be going and running and getting parts in the middle of it. And I'm telling you, this has happened regularly because I get Bryce coming over, hey Alan, they want me to go over and get this. And they didn't have this and they didn't have that. I got to go get this part. And he's running and doing that. So you guys know I'm charging you for that. If I got to run him to do parts. Now it's different if Kevin says, hey, Kevin calls us up and says, or calls Bryce, hey Bryce, I need you to help me out here. We didn't have the parts here for them in the morning. Can you bring them, bring the parts out to them? I don't charge you for that. That's something on us. If we couldn't pay for it right away or whatever, that's different. But if you're just missing something and he's gotta go get you something because you forgot it or didn't realize you didn't have it, you're getting charged for that, okay? So I just wanna make that clear for everybody. And then the other thing about payroll that I wanna bring up is, okay, for anybody who's a commissioned employee, we do not pay for you sitting around waiting for work, okay? I don't care if you go get a pizza, I don't care if you go shopping, go get your cell phone bill paid, whatever, those things, you have time to do whatever you want during that time. So I don't want you putting in here, oh, I'm just here, I'm just sitting around, waiting time or warehouse time or whatever. If you're in the warehouse doing work because we need something done and being productive, then I'll pay you that minimum, because we need something done. Or if someone needs help, we'll send you to help somebody, and then we'll pay you that way, to the job. But I'm not gonna just pay you to sit around doing nothing, okay? Because you can do whatever you want during that time, it's your time. Your time on the job is what you're getting paid for. So just make sure that's clear as well. You have anything else before I hand these out?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Jesse?
And I just had a few questions on that, on the paying, so. When I'm running a job, are we paid port to port, like from the shop, return to the shop? Or is it paid one way? Like you're paid for the ride to the job site, but you clock out when you leave?
So let me discuss a little bit about what California law says.
Okay.
California law says that if you get dispatched direct from your home to a job, you get paid for that travel time.
From the time you get in your truck to the time you get out of your truck.
Right.
But on your way, let's say that job took all day, and now you're gonna go home from that job, you don't get paid for going home,
Okay,
okay?
so that's for
Time
people that take
stops
their truck home.
when you get in your truck and you turn the ignition on. Okay? At the end of the job.
That's what I had figured, cause that's how it was when I was taking the truck home. So then for the guys that have to come to the shop, then go to the shop, it's port to port to the shop?
Right, so let me give you an example of this too. You don't get paid to come to work. So when you came here this morning, you didn't get paid for that travel time,
Right.
okay? But you got paid when you arrived and you started in the classroom, okay? So you're getting paid for that time. But let's say there's a 2-hour window where you don't have anything to do after the class. Well, guess what? Go do something with your time. You can do whatever you want. Go see a movie. I don't care. But you're not going to get paid for that time unless you've got an approval to go ahead and do some warehouse work or some follow-up work or something to that nature, to where you're physically engaged in working at this company. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you're in a situation where, I got to stand by for 2 hours, okay, then go somewhere and stand by and do something with your life. Me, personally, I would be, if I had personal time in between, I would be improving my skills somehow, some way. Whatever that is, decluttering, reading,
Follow up.
Yeah. But that, those are the things that, that I don't, when I'm getting gas, literally, I take that time and I use it for something. I'll be cleaning trash out of my truck. I won't sit there and go wait for that thing to fill up. I never do stuff like that. So one of the things that just popped in my head was one of my first classes is going to be time management. Because I'm noticing that a lot of people here don't have good time management skills. So that's going to be a class that I'm going to be, I think, the first class that I'm going to do, because it's probably the most powerful and most impactful, whether you're a seasoned, technician or salesman or a newbie into the company or into the trades. But time management is probably one of the biggest problems that we face as adults. And I'm shocked at how even, you know, as accomplished as I've been, you know, a company and employees and things like that, it's amazing how much time you can waste in your life. And as you get older, you start to kind of appreciate your time a little more, you know. So anyway, I don't want to talk any further on that one, but yeah, if you do have questions about payroll, don't hesitate to ask. We have also, if you have questions, we have employer's resource. So if you're like feeling uncomfortable with us, you know, having a conversation with us for whatever reason, I mean, we want to follow the state law to the letter. That's who we are. We're not trying to skirt the law or anything like that. If you need a second opinion, you could call them as well, because they're kind of a neutral, you know, employer's resource, and they have people that will talk to you about that and give you a better understanding from a neutral position. You know, so in case you think we have an agenda. Our agenda, by the way, is very simple. We follow the state law to the letter. And for me, it's personally important, you know, as a character issue for me, but it's also legally very important from the state of California's perspective. So, you know, I have been audited. Had the state of California come and they give me a desk. They literally come into your business and say, I need a desk, a place to work, a computer, provide me with all the stuff that I need, and I'm going to audit your business. That happened to me years ago. And the guy went through my business and he was like, man, you guys are squeaky clean. He had no complaint, by the way. So the state of California could just do this. Just randomly pick a business and walk in the front door, knock on the door and say, here I am, and here's what's going to happen. Just like that.
Did that to my diesel shop.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
and it's pretty weird. Like, you know, it's like, why? No, this is the law. You know, they literally can walk into your business like that. So I have all the incentive in the world to make sure we're accurate and right. And if we're not, I'd be the first one that wants to know. So, anyway.
Speaking, and one other thing I want to add on that, so BFS, you're probably the only one so far, because you're new. Make sure that you put your lunches on there. You guys have to take a lunch within 5 hours. You can't work more than 5 consecutive hours without putting a lunch, having a 30-minute uninterrupted lunch. So that needs to be on your time cards for you who are hourly, so that I can see that you took your lunch. I don't want to be assuming that you took a lunch. And I know there's times you get busy, but you got to take your lunch. You got to take your break, okay? You have to do that. And the other thing that Kevin didn't mention, if you're going from job to job to job, obviously your time continues, right? You're going to get paid. Like if you went to job 1 and then you're going straight to another job 2, your time continues. It's uninterrupted basically, right? You can continue that on as far as your time is concerned. But when you start job number 2, that's when your time starts for job number 2. When you get done with job number 2, now you have waiting time. That's your time. Do what you want. All right? There's no calls coming. Call me when I get another call. They call you, say, hey, you got another call? Time starts again. Okay? Because, you know, we want to pay overtime when it's due and when it's earned. But I'm not going to pay overtime just because, oh, I sat around the shop for 3 hours a day. And plus, by the way, well, then I worked for 5 hours. And then I got another call for another hour. Well, you worked 6 hours. And now I got to pay you for, you know, sitting around 2. And then I'm paying overtime on those. We don't charge overtime to the customer unless, you know, unless I have to. I pay it to you guys. I have to pay you. But we're not charging overtime to the customer unless it's an emergency after hours type of thing. We charge that fee.
And when does that start? Because I know in the past it was after 3 o'clock, that would become a 4 to 7 call, and that was considered after hours. Because I know we're coming into the busy AC season, so 4 to 7s are going to be probably a thing again.
Well, for me, I don't think that, I'm going to say it depends on when the call comes in to us.
Yeah, that was
so
at 3 o'clock. So
If
they
we get the
at
call
3
in at 12, and I can't get there till 4 to 7 because I'm not sure when you're going to be done, I don't think I would charge an after hours call on that.
Right.
But if the call comes in at 4, for an example, that's going to be considered after hours. Because I'm not going to be able to get you in until later. That's the way I would do it, unless you have a
And-
problem.
No, I'm in agreement with
And
that.
that rate isn't 89, correct, for the after hours?
149.
Yeah, it's something like 129, 149, something like that. So it's, you know, it goes with demand. I mean, I get after hours calls and I don't charge anything.
Yeah, and the same, and
I did
we
quite a
may
few
we may
before
waive
you,
those
so-
guys if we don't have something going on. I need to get you guys some work. I'll waive those fees all day long. I mean, and one of the things I told the guys, because I heard the first time I heard it about freaked me out because I was listening to a call. It was already done. It was too late at this point. But one of the guys answered the phone, and the guy said, hey, it's $89 for us to come out. And he goes, that's freaking ridiculous, and hung up on us. Didn't even give us a chance to say, oh, we'll waive it, right? He goes, that's just how we do things here. So I brought that person in a conversation and said, that doesn't happen again. And then I talked to the rest of the guys, but I mean, I'll waive it if we don't, and we didn't have anything going on. So he just basically lost a call that we paid for, by the way, because we pay for a lot of those calls.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed with dispatch is sometimes they won't ask the question of how many air conditioners do you have in your home? Because they've sent me out on a tune-up, and they were told, we'll do both systems, or that's what they heard, or whatever. It's 89 per system, and now here I am holding only an $89 charge, and I did the tune-up on both systems, because that's what was written down.
Okay, well, I'll talk to them about that then.
It hasn't happened too frequently, but
Yeah.
it does happen.
I tend to, almost all the time, review the schedule the night before. For a look, I didn't last night I was in school last night, that's why. But normally as a habit, I'm pretty consistent about it. And I look at the schedule and I look for things like that.
Yeah,
Because I know they don't,
or they'll sell one
they'll give you
HVAC.
they'll give you a window, you've got 3 calls, they give you a window and that guy's got 3 air conditioners.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think it was Al Bubion
That's
the
like
last
3
time
calls
around.
right there,
Yeah.
literally.
Al
Yeah.
Bubion, they
Yeah.
did it to me. They
Yeah.
sent me out there to go do the tune-ups with, I think, Jesse, and then they had me in a 2 to 5. It's like, wait,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
this is, no. This guy's got 5 air conditioners. I'm
Yeah.
there all day.
Yeah, it's a full day.
And maybe part of tomorrow if I find stuff.
Yeah, it's a full day, yeah, I get it. Yeah,
No, that's
it's we're working on it.
Shit's all screwed too.
Yeah,
What was the other question I had? So, if they're taking a company truck and they're dispatched from here, they're paid from the time they leave here to the time they return here. If in a
If-
situation like
If they're
Ryan-
hourly, yes.
Right. If they're like Ryan, who takes a truck home, and he goes straight to the job, he's paid from the minute he got in his truck to the minute he gets to the job.
No. No.
Or
No,
if
no, no,
he's
no.
reporting here first.
Ryan, okay, so Ryan, it depends if Ryan's commission, if Ryan's he's a commission
Yeah, his
employee.
own guy out on his own.
You don't get, unless it's an on-call thing. If I call you from home and say, okay, you're going to John Smith's house
Yeah.
and blah, 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 then from the time he leaves his house, yes.
Okay.
But if he's just coming here to go to work and he gets here,
Mm-hmm.
it's when he clocks in here, or if we send him from a job once he gets here, you know what I mean? He's gonna get
Yeah.
sent from a job, then he can start as soon as we dispatch him.
But then the minute he leaves that job to return home is when his time stops.
Time stops.
Okay.
yeah. There's a caveat to that law. If the distance to and from the shop is greater than, so let's say, case in point, let's say Ryan drives all the way from Yorba to here, okay? And then he's in San Clemente at the end of his day, and he drives past here. He gets paid that time from San Clemente to here, and then the clock stops when he's somewhere around here.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
I remember that.
So if I
from
sent you
Diesel
to
Shop.
Paris,
Woo!
you know,
You better give me a hotel
Yeah.
room.
right?
It's gonna be
So,
cheaper.
and that's your last call, yes, that time difference between the travel between here and there, I have to pay you that. So it's kind of a weird one, but and it doesn't happen that often, but it can.
And it used to happen
And
to
it's
us all the time
important,
at
it's
JDM.
important that you know that, you
It
know.
happens every time I go south.
But on the other part of that, when you're north, if you go north and you go from there home,
We never
you're
go
saving
north.
time.
But bring that to our attention, because we have a very good way of tracking that, because we have tracking devices on all
Oh,
the
yeah.
vehicles.
Oh.
And we can tell when you've driven past here to the minute,
I usually just
okay?
mentally
So-
clock out whenever I leave the job.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but if it's substantial, I mean, come on, you know?
Right.
I mean, we did a job in El Cajon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, right? So you guys gotta get paid for that. And we bill the customer for that travel time as well, you know, so, but, you know, don't abuse it, but if it happens, it happens. You know, just let us know,
Yeah.
because we don't have the time to go
Double
into
check everything. all the time.
Fleetmatics and research it, you know, so you gotta let us know. You gotta let us know what your hours are.
Just when you're driving past it, just look up and go, Bake Parkway, 6:15.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It's simple. Yeah.
And,
All right.
you know, our
All right,
phones are
guys.
smart enough to make that note for you.
Let's go make it happen. Let's get McMillan done, get